I had an interesting discussion with Union Minister Piyush Goyal on the subject of India's technological advancement and competitiveness in the world. My position is that India is a preeminent supplier of technical labor, but it is others who own the intellectual property, the assets, the platforms that we end up licensing back. So in a sense, we are providing the bricklayers and somebody else owns the mansions which these bricklayers are making. Are we vulnerable in the long run? And he had a different take on it. He gives examples where this is not so, and he feels quite confident that the current strategy is actually a good one. I want you to listen to both sides because it's a very important debate. It's not one is right, the other is wrong, but I want you to ask yourself the question, is India deploying its technological manpower strategically in the best manner possible? Is it positioned to compete favorably with people like China or not? Please post your comments and share with your friends. Do you feel that China started investing in futuristic technologies? It's the largest producer of solar panels, wants to be number one in electric cars, self-driven cars, nanotechnology, and these sort of things. Now, there is a digital economy where China has stood up to the Google and the Facebook and the Amazon with its own equivalents and given them 10 years of domestic protection, which is sort of a little bit unfair to the world economy, but they've done it. And therefore given them a huge head start. Now they can take on and be global players on par with the Americans. Now we haven't done that. So in a sense, are we at risk of becoming a digital colony because we are dependent on Google, Facebook, Amazon as platforms, even though we are tech people, but our technology rides on there. It's like they got the highways and we are running cars and buses on it.
Very, very aptly put. China took some of these decisions to transform itself in the late 70s, and you saw them creating this framework from 79 to 84, which prepared them for almost 3 decades of very fast, rapid growth. I would think 2 out of 3 years over the last 3 decades, they've seen double-digit growth.
Yes.
Unfortunately, the Indian leadership until 2014 did not engage with technology, did not allow Indians to really innovate to the extent of capacity that we actually had. We preferred to go the soft route of importing technologies, of cloning what is done in the other parts of the world. Post 2014, this government has tried to bring in more and more focus on innovation, more and more focus on getting technology to become the defining feature of India. Let me take a simple example of the bullet train. Now, the last significant technology that we brought into India in the railways was in 1969, when the Rajdhani was introduced.
Right.
I remember there was opposition to the Rajdhani in 69 also. Some people saying, do we really need the Rajdhani?
It's elitist or whatever. Yeah.
And today I read in the paper an interview by an honorable member of parliament and a very, very senior leader of the Congress, which has said that if they come back to power, they will scrap the bullet train project. Now it pains me that they probably want to keep India and all Indians relegated to substandard services or really backwardness, and not allow the country to engage with modern.
So bullet train is not only technology, but also sends a message that we are technological leaders and we can innovate and we can move ahead.
Actually, bullet train is not about a bullet train coming up in 500 kilometers. It's about that whole stretch, Mumbai-Ahmedabad, becoming an economic corridor where we will engage with the world to bring prosperity to the whole corridor.
Right.
It has an element of make in India because all these technologies will come to India and strengthen our ability to expand at much lower costs in the future.
So we can replicate it elsewhere ourselves.
Absolutely. It will help us to start manufacturing in India and then become the provider to the rest of the world, where high-speed trains are also becoming attractive.
And we have the economy of scale.
It will help us to bring efficiency, safety, make the whole passenger experience a safe travel and a delightful experience.
And connect the country, make it smaller.
And once this becomes duplicated in other parts of the country,
right,
my own sense is the country cannot reach the levels of a superpower that we aspire to be unless we provide connectivity at the most efficient and modern way.
That is correct.
And it's very, very sad that everybody is seeing the merits of the bullet train project, but sadly is bringing in politics to try and derail the...
Yeah. But do you feel that in the digital side, do you feel there's a national security risk in the sense that Gmail data is sitting in somebody's servers? All our profile and behavior on Facebook and Google and all these things are in the hands of a foreign country. Now, if Russia can hijack even or intervene even in the US elections, you see, I as a user, I'm in technology myself, I know the power of Facebook to profile consumers and mold their behavior through very targeted marketing. And so there is a risk that somebody sitting elsewhere could use these platforms and shape political opinion, political ideologies, create unrest, create separatism. So isn't there a national security issue that we should control these technologies and have the data sitting in our country, under our control?
I think this is a subject that is being deliberated at different levels. There are experts working to see how this can be addressed, what kind of firewalls need to be put in, what kind of technology needs to be superimposed on data or on existing databases to ensure that national security is not compromised.
Right.
I can assure you that the good part of technology is while there is a risk, there's always a newer technology that evolves to address that risk.
Yes.
And by the time you're using that, there's going to be newer risks coming in.
Right.
So this is going to be an evolution where you're all the time going to be working to keep pace with the future.
Right. Now, I want to talk about technology, India's technology. We've become very strong, and I was part of the software and technology, so I'm very happy about all that. But you know, we are exporting labor. Our people in the Middle East are a large part of the labor running the oil economy, but we don't own the oil wells. And our software people are major factor in running Microsoft, but we don't own the software. We're running Google and Facebook, but we don't own the equity. So we are providing the labor and the actually equity. It's like people from a poor village coming to Delhi, building a mansion for a rich man and feeling very proud ki humne kya bana diya. I'm a mason, I'm a carpenter, I'm an electrician. Back in the village, they're very proud because this guy is sending money home and he's better off than the rest of the village. But actually, at the end of the day, when the mansion has been built, he's looking for another job. He doesn't own even a brick that he installed. So we are supplying cheap labor, but we don't own the equity in the technology, we don't own the intellectual property. Don't you think that we should have some of the billionaires and some of the very rich people who made money in this economy should have reinvested in entrepreneurship, creating Indian ventures and owning equity on par with the rest of the world?
Well, I think there are two sides to this coin. On the one hand, if India is also providing technology experts or skilled workmen to the rest of the world, I see no harm in that. It opens up opportunities for many Indians, and we should encourage and allow that to happen. Having said that, there is huge potential for research, for innovation, for entrepreneurship in India, which we have to unshackle, which we have to encourage. And if you see this government's programs, when it comes to skill development, for example, we are really focusing to see how we can make our people ready for the kind of work they want to do, better equipped to be experts in their work. When it comes to Startup India or Stand Up India, we're trying to see how we can ensure that entrepreneurs get an opportunity to experiment with new businesses, to experiment with technology. Our effort is that we should, in fact, create more and more public, private and academia partnerships for innovation in agriculture, for example, innovation to see how we can reach the fruits of development to the poorest of the poor. And in some sense, if you see the India stack, it is a proof that India and Indians has the ability. We just need to provide the platform to enable them to do that.
Certainly the Indian as an individual is world class. I mean, we know that. The question is, if IBM has more people in India than in any other country, and this story can be said many other ways, also many other examples. But the equity of IBM and their software packages and products and technology rights, intellectual property rights, belongs to that corporate entity, and we are providing them labor. So even when we do pharmaceutical research, we do the drug testing, we do the biology, the chemistry, but the patent lies with the client. So in a sense, the outsourcing has this kind of a facet to it, that the Bada Sahab and the Malik is the one who comes out ahead.
Many of us do a job. It doesn't mean that the company that we do a job for, we should necessarily own that company.
True, but these companies, foreign companies.
So anybody who's working for these companies also is serving in his own way. There is no contradiction between the two. It's not as if because some of us or some of our people are working in these companies, it stops us from encouraging the others to innovate and be entrepreneurs in India. So I think we'll have to work on a parallel track. We respect the work our Indians are doing to provide to the rest of the world newer technologies, newer research products and stuff like that. But at the same time, I think the effort all of us are doing in government, and we can probably redouble that effort to encourage that entrepreneurship to also flourish in India, to help innovators, to help people with new ideas come up with solutions to the many problems before this country. And I remember in my earlier work as a power minister or a renewable energy minister, there were occasions where I saw some brilliant work coming out of the Indian stables, out of our IITs, out of our institutes of science. Look at the fantastic work that ISRO has done.
ISRO is remarkable.
On the space side.
So it's a case study.
Right. So I think we can have millions of Indians whom we can encourage to innovate, whom we can encourage to come up with new ideas. Work in this Mudra scheme, for example, helps people raise small amounts of capital to become entrepreneurs. The Startup India, Stand Up India schemes help people raise capital to experiment with new businesses. Similarly, we are looking at engaging with our IITs, our academic professors from different institutions of eminence and industry, partnering with them to see whether we can get new technologies, newer and newer ways to serve the people of India better.
In the next episode, Piyush Goyal ji and I will discuss India's domestic challenges. We'll be back.